Hello everyone, I'm Siddharth. I'm a PhD student at NUS and I'll be speaking on anomaly detection in data streams. So this is basically the data is arriving in a streaming or an online manner and we want to detect anomalies as soon as possible so that the harm is minimized and the systems can recover as soon as possible. So this is the GitHub link to the project I'll be discussing in the presentation and other related works of my thesis. The motivation behind online or streaming anomaly detection is a DDoS kind of attack. Like it can be over any kind of network. For example, this is like a communication network between nodes. It can be an Amazon user review kind of network. It can be a Twitter tweets like kind of social network. So or like a financial kind of network where there you have to find financial fraud. So in the course of the presentation, I'll be synonymously using the terms anomaly, malicious entity, fraudulent setting. So in a graph scenario, suppose these are all the normal users and they are like communicating with each other at like in an expected manner. And suddenly within a short span of time, these three attackers, they arrive in the system and now they want to either break the system or like send like a DDoS kind of flood or a flooding attack and they sent like these suspicious communications within a short span of time. So this is the behavior which we want to detect. So the data is arriving in a streaming manner. So the graph which we discussed in the previous slide, this is an edge stream corresponding to that. So these are the edges which arrive at the exact time instant mentioned here. So for example, at time instant 1, there is an edge formed between U1 to U2 and so on. So up to time instant 5, we observe all normal kind of edges arrived. And suddenly at time instant 6, we see that in this particular example, it's the same time instant, but within a short span of time, like these attackers arrive and they sent a lot of suspicious or fraudulent kind of edges. These edges are corresponding to communications. So this time axis, it can be like, we are just considering it time instance. It can be seconds, minutes, days, so on. So the roadmap of the presentation is that I'll be first discussing how do we solve this particular anomaly detection problem in a graph scenario where you have like a streaming graph. So you don't have like the static graph, you have like the graph is evolving. And then we'll be discussing a generic data type like a record or multi-aspect data type, which is used in event log kind of data. And then how we are extending this to like in the future work. So for graphs, Midas, this work was published at AAA last year. So in this particular setting, like we have a time evolving graph G. So this is a dynamic graph. The graph does not remain the same. So it will be evolving over time. And we have an edge stream which is arriving from this time evolving graph G. So we are assuming that the graph is directed. Undirected case can be handled in just adding the other direction to the input. And it is a multi-graph. So between two nodes, there can be more than one edge which is existing. And then we are considering discrete time instants. They can be either seconds, minutes, hours, and so on. So what we'll be outputting is an anomaly score for each edge. So as and when the edge arrives, we want to give out an anomaly score. So like, for example, if a very highly anomalous edge comes, we'll say something like 0.95, something like that. And based on this anomaly score, then the domain expert or the application users, they can see how do they want to use that anomaly score, anomalousness score to either block the users or give them a warning or like keep an eye on them for future, something like that. So the contributions for this work were that we could detect microclusters. So microcluster is something where a similar group of users, they act in a coordinated manner to perform an attack. So it may be possible that an individual user is not coming under scrutiny, but a group of users that together send a lot of suspicious edges and they form an attack. So previous works could not detect that in an online or a streaming manner. So we could detect something like that. Another issue like with anomaly detection is that there's a huge number of false positives. So like our algorithm has a theoretical bound, like we are able to give a guarantee on the false positive probability, which is quite useful in critical applications. And constant memory and constant update time. Any streaming algorithm, our algorithm should not be dependent on the number of nodes in the stream. So having constant memory and update time is quite useful. So just to go into details of what we exactly want to detect. So suppose the y-axis is occurrences of edges between nodes u and v. So number of edges between nodes u to v, and x-axis is the time axis. So say up to time instant 9, we observe that there is the expected number of edges is usually, the occurrences of edges is usually around 5 to 10. So this is like the expected behavior. And suddenly at this 10th time instant, we observe a huge number of communications or edges, and this 1,000. So this is basically an unexpected behavior, and we want to detect this in an online scenario. In an offline setting, there are a lot of time series based methods which can do this, like there's Hawk's processes, self-exciting work. So all those kind of methods can detect something like this. In an online scenario, our memory is not bounded. We do not have all the information saved a priori. We do not know what all nodes we'll be observing in future. So all those kind of challenges are there. So the naive solution will be like, we can assume that our entire distribution follows a Gaussian distribution. We then basically find the mean and the standard deviation of this distribution, and then we compute the likelihood at this particular point, whatever point we want to observe it at. And then we say, okay, our number of occurrences is quite high compared to the likelihood, so we can declare it as an anomaly. However, the problem with this approach is that we have assumed that our entire past distribution was following a Gaussian distribution. So instead of that, our assumption is that the mean level of the past is the same as the mean level of the current point. So whatever be your distribution in the past, whether it is following a uniform distribution or a Gaussian distribution, whatever be your distribution, the average rate at which the edges are appearing, so that is same, because we need to make some kind of a expected value here. So for example, if there are 10 time instants and 1,000 edges, so we'll divide in the ratio 9:1. So 900:100. And this is the expected number. And if we observe 1,000, so the expected was 100, observed is 1,000 at the current point. So we know this is quite anomalous. And we'll have to give a value which is corresponding to the difference between the observed and the expected value. If instead of 1,000, we observe 10,000 edges somewhere here, so we should give a higher anomaly score. So intuitively, like our anomaly score, whatever score we finally derive, it should be proportional to the difference between our observed value and our expected value. And in an online scenario, we do not have all these values stored with us. So we do not have all edges, all nodes, all their occurrences saved, because that we cannot do in a stream. So you stream is like you just look at it one time, and we need basically a suitable data structure to be able to store something like this. So we use two things for MIDAS. First is a streaming data structure called Countman Sketch. So sketches, like, they're quite powerful. If you don't know about them, you should definitely go ahead and read more about sketches. So one popular kind of sketch is a Countman Sketch. It is basically a probabilistic data structure with multiple hash functions. And it is slightly different from a hash table because it uses sublinear space, and it'll basically allow overcounting, and that way, the space is reduced. But it provides theoretical guarantees as well on how much you'll be able to approximate. So based on your data structure sizes, your error bounds will depend on that. And so it basically hashes a value to across multiple hash functions, in this case, D hash functions, into different buckets, one of these W buckets, and then you have a simple retrieval by taking a minimum across these. So don't worry about the details of CMS, but this is basically the guarantee of the Countman Sketch. With, say, probability at least 1 minus epsilon, we'll have to tolerate only mu amount of error. So something like with 99% probability, we'll have to only tolerate up to 0.5% error. So in our particular example, we save two data structures. Like, we keep two data structures for saving the edge counts, S and A. S is the total edges up to time t, and A is the total UV edges, the current UV edges at the time t. So using these two data structures, Countman Sketch data structures, we'll be able to get an approximate estimated count, S hat and A hat. So this will be the approximate total count, and this will be the approximate current count. And just remember, we actually wanted an estimate expected value, not the total value, but an expected value. So we'll basically divide this by time. So the other thing which we use along with CMS is a chi-squared test. Chi-squared test basically takes a summation over both categories, the current time and the past time. And we'll be having observed minus expected whole square over the expected value. So the derivation is in the paper, and the false positive guarantee is also, more details about that are in the paper. But just to discuss this formula, so this is the final anomaly score formula which is derived. And if we want to observe this, so intuitively, A hat is the observed value, S hat was the total value, S hat divided by time is the expected value. So our score is actually proportional to the difference between the observed and the expected value. And this third term is basically a diminishing factor with the increasing stream length. So as your stream increases, we do not want to have sudden changes in the anomaly score. So that depends on this diminishing factor. Another variant which we introduce in the paper is Midas R, which incorporates relations. So basically, it incorporates two kind of relations. First is the temporal effect. So instead of just assuming your current time as time equal to 10, we are basically taking a windowed kind of effect where we give 0.5, say around 50% weight to time instant 9, 25% to time instant 8. So in a diminishing effect, we take the temporal relation into account. And the other kind of relations, we also take spatial relations into account. So instead of just calculating a score of the entire edge, we now calculate a score for source node and destination node separately as well. So we'll have two data structures, S and A, for the total edges out of a source node, current edges out of a source node, similarly for the destination nodes. So this will basically, instead of, if an edge was not anomalous, but if a node is anomalous, so that will also be detected in this particular example. So there'll be slightly extra computation, but at the same time, we expect better accuracy in this case. The time and memory complexity for both Midas and Midas R is constant. Like we just have count-min sketch data structure. So any kind of operation is like proportional to your number of hash functions, that is order D. And space complexity is W cross D, where W is the number of buckets and D is the number of hash functions. These parameters W and D are chosen based on the error bounds which we can tolerate. So something like 0.5% error only we want to tolerate, and with 99% probability we want the right bounds. So based on those parameters, epsilon and mu, we can choose the corresponding W and D. The experiments, so this is the related work in the anomaly detection in graph scenario. So these were slightly older papers where static graphs were considered, where the graph is not evolving over time, like it is the exact same graph where you want to detect anomalies. These two are dynamic graphs where you either have a new graph snapshot arriving, so it is a graph stream. For example, every day you are checking the Facebook social network and you want to find anomalous nodes or anomalous users, something like that. So this is a new graph snapshot at the end of the day or like week, month, something like that. Edge stream is at an even finer granularity where we want to detect at the level of edges as soon as a new edge or a new communication, a new transaction, a new user review kind of rating, or a new tweet, Facebook Live. As soon as a new edge is formed, we want to say how anomalous that is. So within that, like you can detect different kind of categories, detect anomalous nodes, anomalous subgraphs, anomalous edges. We are primarily in this, but Midas R also detects anomalous nodes. The data sets which we use in the paper, like there are two categories, intrusion detection and like social network kind of data sets. But like we can have any kind of time evolving graph where you want to detect anomalous entities, anomalous edges. And DARPA, it had like around 4.5 million IP-IP communications. This is quite a popular data set and over 90,000 minutes. Twitter data sets were around 2.5 million, 1.7 million over these months. And so I'll just discuss, in view of time, I'll discuss the experiments on DARPA. So this is the time axis, and this is the AUC, ROC AUC score for Midas and Midas R. So time is in log scale, and we observe that Sedan spot is somewhere here. Midas and Midas R, this is Midas, this is Midas R. They perform in less than 1 second on my normal laptop. So it is like around like at least 2 orders, but in fact, we improved the experiment. So like the results, and they were like, there's an extended journal version which is giving speed ups of up to 3 orders of magnitude. And along with that kind of speed up, we also have say up to 50% accuracy. So this is doing anomaly detection in real time kind of scenario. Sedan spot is quite slow because it requires a lot of PageRank kind of algorithm, and it basically requires moving over the graph, and so that requires a lot of time. So that is how Midas and Midas R are better. Midas R, as expected, is slightly better than Midas, So 91 to 95% it went, and it takes it takes very less, like it's takes slightly more time than Midas. However, that is kind of tolerable as long as both of them are real time. So then I'll briefly discuss about how we extend Midas to a record kind of setting or a multi-aspect data. So this is a generic data type. This work was published at WWW this year. So in Midas, we just had a source and a destination. So this basically has multiple dimensions. It can either be considered as like a multi-attributed graph, or it can be considered as a record stream where you have different features. So source IP, destination IP, these are categorical features. Then real valued features like packet size, average flow duration, something like that. So this is an example of a net flow data, but any kind of record stream can be an input, a record stream, event log data, something like that. And we observe that like this is an anomalous group kind of anomaly. So, and each of these records has d dimensions. So it is a mix of both categorical and real valued attributes. Our output has to be an anomaly score for each record. So as soon as a record arrives, we want to give out an anomaly score. And the contributions were that we could detect multi-aspect group anomalies in a streaming manner, like again in constant time and constant memory. And we could also capture the correlation between different features. So that was something interesting. For example, if you have like two features, and if feature one is high, so that is an anomaly. If feature two is high, that is an anomaly. But we observed, like, for example, if both of them are high, it is not an anomaly. So we used dimensionality reduction methods. We basically used a very simple autoencoder to capture correlation between different features. And that was quite interesting. This is just an overview of the entire algorithm. So we have this as a record stream. Each record, like this over time t, each record Ri has a mix of real valued and categorical features. This as and when the record is arriving, we pass it through a dimensionality reduction method, and this reduces the dimensions, captures some correlations, and we basically have different kind of hashings, one for the entire record, one for individual, like, and another kind of hash for individual feature. So then we use some like existing LSH based hashing mechanisms, locality sensitive hashing, to hash them and calculate a final anomaly score. So the experiments for this were like, these are all scikit-learn, quite popular algorithms, elliptic envelope, local outlier factor, isolation forest. These are some other more recent kind of streaming approaches. Random cut forest is an algorithm which is currently being used by Amazon for streaming multi-aspect anomaly detection. And dense alert is a work by CMU. So these were some of the existing works in this area. So we could detect group anomalies and real valued features. And the data sets which we used were spanning different sizes and different anomaly percentages and different number of dimensions. So just one graph for this to demonstrate, like, again, we are orders of magnitude faster. These are all M stream and M stream variants. So we had different dimensionality reduction methods like PCA, information bottleneck, autoencoder. And we again observe like it is much more accurate. This is the current, like, which was state of the art for Amazon, used by Amazon random cut forest. And that is an open source work as well. So it is giving much better AUC with like at a much faster rate. So there's some of the scalability results, like MStream was scalable with number of records, number of hash functions, number of dimensions. So this is like a log scale, like this is in log axis. So we have slope equal to 1, parallel to slope equal to 1, but it is overall scalable, and like it has constant time and memory complexity. Then in future work, in my thesis, I'm kind of using for MemStream. So one assumption, if you remember, like we made in Midas, we had a small assumption that our mean level has to be same for the past and the present distribution. So we want to introduce MemStream where there's no such assumption, and we are like effectively handling the drift in the distribution. So it is basically a memory augmented feature extractor for anomaly detection in a streaming manner, and it allows for quick retraining, and it gives a theoretical bound on the effective memory size for better drift handling. And it is also robust to memory poisoning. So this work is under preparation. Another thing which we were also considering was that we saw different type of graph anomalies which could be detected. So edge anomalies or subgraph anomalies, but there is no such work which can detect both kind of anomalies. So we extend the original Countman sketch data structure to a higher order sketch, which will be preserving a dense subgraph. So by converting the existing Countman sketch, which is quite popular, to a higher order, we are able to detect both kind of anomalies. And our approach in this particular case is the first tuning method that uses dense subgraph search to detect graph anomalies in constant memory and time. So yeah, with that, I'll end. The GitHub repository has the GitHub link has the links to all the repositories discussed in this presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Siddharth. Thank you for the talk. Seems like significant results. You have achieved significant results in the online anomaly detection. So, folks, you can ask questions. Either you can, turn off your mute button and directly speak up, or you can type your questions in the chat. Yeah. I have one question. So currently the expected mean at the current time is sort of assumed to be same as the mean of edge counts from previous times, right?
Yeah.
But so is the particular time of day being considered into account? For example, let's say the edge count between two nodes might naturally have a high expected value during certain period of time, like which might be occurring periodically. Is that taken into account?
Yeah, that's a good question. So basically, like for example, if you have like Black Friday in the US, so Amazon will obviously have more sales, or like if you have Singles Day in say China, something like that. So that will obviously have a different expected behavior. So in the basic MIDAS version, we are not considering periodicity and frequency pattern. So this will basically have two kind of things. One will be a seasonal kind of pattern. For example, say weekend or like Christmas break, something like that. And another is if you can somehow find the frequency there. So original the Midas work paper did not have something like that, and that was a limitation. And we're trying to improve upon it. That work is currently under submission. I did not discuss it in this presentation, but yeah, that is one thing which which will be lacking if you or as you make some kind of assumption. So whatever assumption you make, that problem will not be solved unless you can find the drift and you can somehow correlate it with different seasons and patterns. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also have a question. So here we assume like what is the power that the attacker has? Like for example, if the attacker gradually increases the amount of difference from the mean, like continuously increases it to some value such that the anomaly score is always low, can such an attacker like get away with things or?
So basically, what you're asking is like you're not thinking from the point of view of an attacker. So if you're anyways trying to make a gradual change, right? So you are somehow. So I'm not saying like our systems or like these algorithms will be robust to everything. That obviously it cannot happen. Like, and there will be some way to break it as well. So this cannot be used in like solidarity, like you're just using this alone in isolation. That is not possible. But at the same time, we need to understand that it is not that an attacker will try and mimic the human behavior. And if a human is trying to somehow, so most of the robotic or like botnet, these kind of attacks, DDoS and denial of service, or if you're doing it in a coordination kind of thing, these things will very easily get detected. But if you're anyways trying to mimic unexpected behavior, for example, if I'm a fake user but I still tweet something like which is a similar expected behavior only, so it is not really causing a problem to the system. So that is not getting detected. So like if you very crudely want to say, an intrusion detection kind of application will be very easily detected, like that kind of an attack. And if I'm trying to hide myself and still do an expected human behavior only in an automated manner, so that is not a problem with the system. So we don't really need to do anything there. So that kind of thing is not detected, but there can be some mechanisms where we do some kind of like other kind of checks along with this. If you want to say, if you want to check a gradual kind of increase, whether it's just increasing, because any human will not just have like an increasing kind of pattern. So those can be some of the additions.
I see. I was asking it with a different. Yeah, so I was asking with a different this thing because there exists some kind of like this stealthy attackers who try to mimic the system and then attack at some point of time. But I guess in this scenario, they are not that Like,
Yeah, they won't be causing as much harm as we.
Right,
So
right.
we're basically detecting different kind of anomalies.
I see. Thanks.
So there are two more questions. One from Zhang. It seems that deep learning based methods has less advantage in this kind of task because of the time consuming part.
Yeah, definitely. So one thing which is like deep learning has its own advantages. So, but there are two problems. One is you need some kind of training data and labels to basically do like your training upon, and like so. But this entire thing, MIDAS, MStream, these works were completely unsupervised, so we didn't have require like any kind of labels and any kind of training beforehand. Another thing is the speed issue, like you mentioned. So because deep learning algorithms, they require like multiple passes over the data to be able to like converge to the right gradient and things like that. So if you want to do a streaming or an online scenario, you cannot do that. So one thing which we are trying in like MemStream also was like, that is the upcoming work where if you can somehow, so there is one branch of algorithms which is all streaming online kind of algorithms. There's another branch which is deep learning based and advances in that field using autoencoders and other kind of things. So can we somehow like combine both these areas and have like a hybrid kind of algorithm which will have the advantages of an online algorithm where you have like everything as soon as possible. At the same time, we get some kind of like advantages from the deep learning aspect. You have like an initial training or something on, or a training on a very few kind of samples, or like very few labels if you can get, or if there's an analyst who's giving some human assisted feedback. So those kind of directions can be there where you can merge these both of these directions areas.
Yeah, nice. So probably we'll have the last question. So in the interest of time, so Devin asks two questions basically. The streaming model here only has edge additions and not edge deletions, right? So that's
Correct.
the first question.
Yeah. So that we have an extended journal version for the same paper which handles some other advances also, but this paper handled only edge additions. Correct.
Okay. So the second question he asked is, I didn't fully understand the definition of anomaly in your problem definition. Sorry, is it defined as just a huge change in the number of edge connections?
Correct. So in this case, yeah, thanks. So basically, like the kind of anomalies which we are detecting in these two works, MStream MIDAS, were like an intrusion kind of anomaly where you're doing something unexpectedly high compared to some like your expected behavior. There can be some other kind of anomalies. For example, if you have like some fake news or textual kind of anomalies where you're seeing the text data and then deciding whether it is an anomalous behavior or not. There can be some other kind of anomalies where you have a heartbeat pattern where your heartbeat goes very low and you want to give a warning to the person that take him to the hospital, something like that. So those kind of anomalies also exist, but we were primarily focusing on cyber security kind of setting where you want to detect an unexpectedly high number of behavior, or like either in reviews or in financial fraud, if you want to have a lot of small transactions to basically hide from the banking like authorities and things like that. So those are the specific kind of anomalies we want to detect here.
Sure. Thanks, Siddharth. Thanks for the talk.